The year was 4089. The human empire ruled most of the known galaxy. Every star system was under their control. No threat had been seen in over 50 years. People believed nothing could harm them now. But one day, a silent alarm changed everything. Commander? Rael stood on the bridge of his patrol ship, the Vigilant. His crew was calm, doing their usual checks. Suddenly, a red light flashed on the main screen. Message appeared. Unidentified vessel detected. Sector 13X. Origin, unknown.
Ayo.
Raised his eyebrows. Sector 13X. That zone is marked. Dead space. No signal, no activity for over a century. His second officer, Tolan, looked worried. Sir, this is not just any ship. It matches an old design from the Eclipse fleet, but that fleet disappeared 112 years ago. Rael leaned forward. The Eclipse fleet had gone missing during a secret mission. No wreckage, no signal, no answers. The Empire had erased the files quietly. Most people believed the fleet had been destroyed by a star explosion, but now one of those ships had returned. Plot a course, Rael ordered. We're going to see it for ourselves. 4 hours later, the Vigilant approached the strange ship. It floated near a cold, dead planet. No lights, no movement. It looked like a ghost in space. The name on the hull was still clear. ESF Revenant. This ship should not exist, Tolan said. It was declared lost. All hands gone. Rael stared at it. No signal, no life signs. But something activated the alarm. Something triggered it to appear. The docking arms connected. A team of 5, led by Rael, suited up and entered the REVENANT. Inside, it was quiet. Too quiet. Lights flickered. Dust floated in the air. There were signs of life. Meals half-hidden, chairs knocked over, a mug still warm in a small kitchen. But there were no people, no bodies, just emptiness. Lieutenant Kara, the team medic, whispered. It's like they've vanished in the middle of their day. The team moved deeper inside. The ship's power was low, but some systems still worked. In the command center, the main screen blinked with a single file. Last log, Captain Dre Salen. Rael played it. A shaky video opened. A man in uniform, face pale, eyes wild, stared into the camera. Behind him, alarms flashed red. This is Captain Salen of the Revenant. If you find this, do not speak. I repeat, do not speak. It hears sound. We opened the wrong door. We thought the signal was a distress call, but it was a trap. We didn't understand. He paused, breathing hard. It sleeps in silence. It waits. If you speak, it wakes, and when it wakes, it takes. Suddenly, something in the video moved behind the captain, a tall, black shape. The screen went black. The room stayed silent for several long seconds. What the hell was that? Tolan asked. Something that shouldn't exist, Rael said. They moved carefully through the ship. No one spoke. Even footsteps were made as light as possible. In the engineering room, they found a strange door, sealed with a warning in red. Do not open. Dangerous entity inside. But the seal was broken. Someone opened it. Kara whispered, RYL. Raised a hand. No talking from now. Total silence. They searched for clues, but there was something strange about the air. Heavy, as if the ship itself was listening. Then a loud clang echoed from below. Everyone froze. Private Hensley, the youngest crewman, looked terrified. Sorry, he whispered. He didn't finish his sentence. In one blink, something dark pulled him through the floor. There was no scream, just silence again. Rael signaled to retreat. They moved fast but careful. Every sound felt dangerous now. Every shadow looked like it might move. As they reached the airlock, a low voice echoed through the hallway. We never died, was Hensley's voice. But Hensley was gone. The door to the Vigilant closed behind them. Safe again, but shaken, RYL sat down, heart pounding. He looked at the dead ship drifting in the stars. What did we wake up? Kara asked. Rael looked at her with cold eyes. I don't know, he said, but this wasn't a ghost ship. It was a cage. Back on the Vigilant, silence filled the ship. No one spoke much. The loss of Private Hensley was still fresh in everyone's mind. He had vanished in front of them, pulled into darkness without a sound. Commander Rael stood in front of the holographic screen, watching the ESF Revenant drift in space. It wasn't a ghost ship, he said softly. It was a cage. We opened it. Lieutenant Kara stood beside him. Sir, whatever that thing was, it copied Hensley's voice. That means it's still awake. Rael nodded. Yes. And it remembers us now. Tolan entered the room holding a datapad. Commander, we recovered more files from the Revenant, but they were encrypted. I broke one open. It's a mission log marked top secret by High Command. He placed the pad on the table. A hologram appeared, showing an image of 7 ships. The missing Eclipse fleet. They were not just explorers, Tolan continued. Their mission was to enter deep silence, zones areas beyond known space. One of those zones had strange readings. They followed a signal, like a call, or a voice. Rael leaned closer. That was over 100 years ago. No one ever said. Why they vanished. Now we know, Kara said. They found that thing. The report ended with a single line. Revenant returned. Do not board. Contain at all costs. But no one ever followed that order. The Empire erased it. It's pretended it never happened. Hours later, another alert sounded. A second ship appeared. Old. Broken. And also from the Eclipse fleet. Its name, ESF Nightfall. It drifted from behind the dead planet. No power, no lights. Rael frowned. How many more are coming back? Tolan checked the scanners. Sir, I think they're all coming back. One by one. Kara looked afraid. They're not ships anymore. They're bait. Rael called a meeting with his command crew. We need answers, he said, and we need to stop this before it spreads. We picked a team of 4. They would board the Nightfall. Quick in, quick out, no speaking. No sounds each person wore. Special sound-dampening suits. Their boots were soft. They used hand signals only. Even the ship's scanners were silent. Inside the Nightfall, the silence was worse than on the Revenant. The air felt cold, heavy, like they were being watched. Lights flickered weakly. The halls were full of strange black markings, claw marks on metal, deep scratches, and something worse. They found bones. Human bones. Kara held up a cracked helmet. The faceplate was shattered from the inside. They reached the bridge. There, another log was waiting. This time it started on its own. A man's face appeared. He looked tired, eyes sunken, face dirty with blood. If you're watching this, then you came for answers, the man coughed. Behind him, loud banging could be heard like something hitting the walls. He spoke fast. He followed the signal. The whole fleet. It came from a black station floating in the void. He thought it was alien tech. Maybe old, maybe forgotten. But it wasn't a station. It was a prison. The video shook. Lights flickered. We opened the doors, he said. We set it free. It moves through sound. It wears our voices. It feeds on memory. It doesn't just kill. It takes everything you are. He looked into the camera one last time. You can't save us. Don't try. Destroy the ships. Burn them all. The feed ended. Rael's hand moved quickly. Return now. They moved fast. But just as they reached the airlock, one of the team, Sergeant Vale, touched a cracked wall panel. A whisper leaked out, a voice from long ago. Vale, it's your mother. Come home. He froze. Kara grabbed his arm, shook her head. But it was too late, he spoke. Mom. A black shape moved through the ceiling like smoke. It dropped onto Vale. In silence, it pulled him into the wall. Gone. No blood. No scream. Just silence again. Back on the Vigilant, the team regrouped. We lost another, Kara whispered. Rael's fists clenched. That thing is calling the ships back. It wants us to listen. It wants to spread. Tolan looked at the growing list on the scanner. 4 more Eclipse ships are arriving now. They're forming a pattern. Like a message. Kara looked up, eyes wide. A warning? No, Ryle said. A trap. The ghost fleet had returned, and now the silence was breaking. The ghost fleet was growing. 5 ships now floated around the dead planet, all once part of the vanished Eclipse fleet. Commander Ryle stood on the bridge of the Vigilant, watching the silent giants on the main screen. Each ship was cold. Each ship was empty. And each one hid something alive. Not alive like humans, but something that listened, something that watched. "Sir," Lieutenant Tolan said quietly, "we found strange energy pulses coming from the center of the ghost." "Fleet, they're forming a pattern, a signal," Rael asked. "No," Tolan replied. "More like sonar. It's like something's listening for us." Rael gathered his officers in the command room. He spoke low, like his words could bring danger. "These things are using the old ships to find targets," he said. "They sleep in silence. But when someone speaks, they wake. Don't just kill," Kara added. "They steal voices. They wear faces, and they are smart." Everyone nodded. "No more boardings," Ryle ordered. "We learn from a distance now. If we make noise, we're next." But it was already too late. That night, in the sleeping quarters, a young engineer named Kay had a nightmare. In his dream, his sister called him from the hallway. "Kay, help me, it's cold out here." He opened his eyes, sweating. The room was dark. Silent then, he heard it again. A whisper, "Kay." He stood up and stepped into the corridor. Empty. The lights flickered. "Kay, don't leave me." The voice was soft, familiar, but something about it felt wrong. He turned around. Behind him stood a shadow with glowing eyes. It didn't scream. It didn't run. It just watched, and then it moved. The next morning, the crew found Kay's empty bed. He was gone. No trace. No sound. No security alert. Just silence. Ryle ordered a full lockdown. "We're not dealing with just one creature," he said. "I think each ghost ship carries its own." Hunter Tolan checked the logs. "Sir, some of them are moving, not the ships. The signals inside, they're changing positions. Like they're walking." Kara's face went pale. "They're boarding us one by one." Security teams started sweeping the Vigilant in total silence. No talking, only hand signals. They used low-light visors and motion scanners. In the engine room, one team found strange black marks on the walls. Claw-like shapes. The room felt colder than usual. Private Juno pointed at something on the floor, a small puddle of water. But no pipe was leaking. Suddenly, the scanner picked something up. Movement directly behind them. They turned. Nothing. They turned again. Gone. Then, Juno heard a voice inside her helmet. "Take it off." The voice was her father's. He had died 10 years ago. "Take off the helmet, sweetheart. It's safe now." Her hands moved slowly to the latch. The captain watching on camera shouted, but no sound could reach her. She unlocked her helmet and vanished. Rael slammed his fist on the table. "They're not just hunting," he growled. "They're learning." Kara nodded. "They copy our voices. Our memories. They use them like bait." Tolan looked at the data stream. "Sir, something's changing." "The Revenant just sent out a signal." "A signal?" Rael's eyes narrowed. "It's repeating a message. We never died. Join us." Rael called all crew to the secure main hall. "We are now in a containment mission," he said. "No speaking unless in this room. Suits stay sealed. Every door must be locked twice." "But sir," a pilot asked, "what if someone knocks? What if it's a real person?" Rael answered coldly. "If they knock, they are not one of us." Silence followed. The crew now feared every sound. Later that day, Rael sat alone in his cabin, watching the 5 ships slowly drift outside. His eyes were tired. His mind was racing. He picked up an old photo of him and his sister when they were kids. Then, soft knock came at the door. 3 slow taps. Rael froze. Then, his sister's voice. "Rael, it's me. Please let me in. I'm scared." He dropped the photo. His sister had died 5 years ago. The voice outside continued, calm and soft. You always promised to protect me, remember? Open the door. He stood, reached for his weapon. But his hand shook. Rael, he closed his eyes and whispered, not this time. He pressed the emergency lock. The door sealed tight back on the bridge. The crew stared at the screen. Another ship had arrived, a sixth ghost from the Eclipse fleet, and it was heading straight for them. The sixth ship from the Eclipse fleet came in fast. It moved like it still had a pilot. But there was no life on board, no signal, no sound. Yet somehow, it knew where the Vigilant was. It stopped just 500 meters away and powered down. Drifting like a dark eye, staring into their ship, Commander Rael stared at the screen. It knows we're here. Lieutenant Tolan checked the scanners. The other 5 ships are moving too. Very slow, but they're circling us. Kara looked up. They're trapping us. The Ghost Fleet was not just returning, it was hunting. Inside the Vigilant, fear was growing. The crew barely spoke. Every hallway had signs saying, do not speak, do not listen. Security teams moved in pairs, helmets stayed sealed. Some crew began to hear voices, familiar ones inside their suits, voices of dead friends, lost family, forgotten lovers. But no one answered. Not anymore. Rael held another meeting in the soundproof command room. These creatures, whatever they are, don't just hear us, he said. They use our own memories. They pull voices from inside our minds. Kara added. They're not just monsters. They're intelligent, patient, and they don't need to rush. They wait for us to make one mistake. Tolan said, there's more. We found something in the old logs from the Revenant. Name Project Hollow Song. Rael frowned. That was classified science division, before the Eclipse fleet vanished. Yes, Tolan nodded. They were trying to make weapons. Living ones. Creatures that hunted by sound, not sight. They made these things? Kara asked. They made one, Tolan replied. It escaped. That night, in the cargo bay, 2 mechanics, Lars and Eno, were checking the outer hull locks.
Out what?
Them dropped a tool. The sound echoed. Clang. Bada. No's eyes went wide. Lars. That was loud, she. Lars whispered, don't say a word. But it was too late. Something moved in the shadows. Fast. Silent. A black shape slithered across the floor, then shot upward into the ceiling. Eno reached for his blaster, but Lars stepped back. What is that? Shut up, shut up, Eno hissed. Suddenly, they heard it, their own voices. From behind them, Lars, Eno, come here. 2 perfect copies of their voices. Lars screamed. The thing dropped from the ceiling. By the time the security team arrived, only blood was left in the control room. Alarms flashed. They're on the ship, Tolan shouted. We have movement on deck B, C, and D. They've boarded without us knowing. They don't break in, Rael said. They just appear when we speak. He stood. Seal the lower decks. Everyone moved to the upper levels. This ship is now under silent protocol. The order went out. No speaking, no sound, no mistakes. Hours passed. The ship stayed dark and quiet. Then something strange happened. One by one. The security cameras stopped working. First on deck C, then D, then E, and then... The lights on those decks went out. Tolan whispered, they're hunting in the dark. Kara sat in the medbay, watching an injured crewman named Rami. He had survived the attack in the engine room, but was shaking badly. He hadn't spoken since. She leaned close and whispered, you're safe now. He looked up at her. Then, in a voice that wasn't his, he smiled. Safe. There is no safe. Her eyes widened. She backed away. The thing inside Rami stood. It wasn't Rami anymore. At the same moment, alarms rang across the Vigilant. The 6th ghost ship, the newest one, powered on. Its engines roared. It moved toward the Vigilant. Rael watched from the bridge. It's going to ram us. Sir, they're forcing us to flee, Tolan said. They want us to run. Kara's voice came through the radio. Don't run. They want sound. The engines. If we power them, they'll hear. Ryle had a choice. Fight or stay silent. He looked at the ghost ship coming closer. Turn off everything, he ordered. Power, lights, engines. We go completely dark. The ship shut down. Silence. Darkness. No movement. Everyone waited. The ghost ship stopped just meters away, and then it drifted back. It didn't see them. It didn't hear them. For now, they were safe. But one thing was clear. If they spoke again, it would wake. For 12 hours, the Vigilant stayed dark. No lights, no engines, no signals. Inside, the crew sat in silence, afraid to even breathe too loud. The ghost ships floated outside like giants made of shadow, waiting for a mistake. Commander Rael sat in the command room, watching the scanners through a small battery-powered tablet. Nothing moved, but he knew it was not over. Lieutenant Tolan worked quietly in the data lab. He had found something strange deep inside the old logs from the Eclipse fleet. The name came up. Again, Project Holosong. He opened a corrupted file marked Experiment Log 47 Memory Echo Test. The file showed a lab room, a human test. Subject sat in a chair with wires connected to his head. Scientists stood behind glass. They spoke through a speaker. Suddenly, the subject screamed and grabbed his head. I hear her, he yelled. My daughter. She's calling me. Then he fell silent. A deep black fog began to form around him. The screen went black. Tolan rushed. To Ryle, Commander, I think I know how these things were made, he whispered. They feed on human minds. Memories. That's how they take voices and faces. Kara joined them. You're saying they don't just copy us, they become us. Yes, Tolan said. They absorb memories. That's why the ships are traps. Each one holds the memory of its dead crew. Ryle nodded slowly. It's not just about sound. It's about the past. Suddenly, the tablet screen flashed red. Signal detected. Active uplink. Inside ship. Ryle's heart dropped. Who sent? A signal, he barked. Tolan's hands moved fast. It's coming from the lower deck. An old cum station was powered on someone triggered it. Ryle stood. We shut it all down. How then? He stopped. His eyes narrowed. It's not someone. It's one of them. Ryle, Tolan, and 2 guards moved down toward the lower deck. They wore sound-dampening suits and carried pulse rifles. Every step was soft, every breath controlled. The hallway was dark. Walls scratched, air cold. As they moved, Ryle heard something. Soft voice, faint, familiar. Brother, is that you? He froze. It was his sister's voice again, but she was dead. Long ago, he didn't reply. He just kept moving. They reached the old cum room inside. It was lit by a single screen. A figure stood in front of it. Private Juno. She had vanished 2 nights ago. Her back was turned. Juno. Tolan whispered. The figure didn't move. Then it spoke, in a voice made of echoes. I remember everything. I remember the stars, the laughter, the pain. You left me there. It turned around. But it wasn't Juno anymore. Its eyes were black. Its mouth moved, but no breath came out. I am all of them now. The creature stepped forward. Ryle fired first. The pulse blast hit its chest. It screamed not with pain but with hundreds of voices all at once. The lights exploded. The cum screen shattered. The creature melted into black mist and vanished. Back on the bridge, alarms flashed again. The other ships, Kara shouted. They felt that, on the scanners, the ghost fleet began to move again this time. All at once, they're waking, Ryle said. They know we're still alive? Tolan pointed at the screen. There's one more ship not here. The flagship of the Eclipse, Fleet SF Solace. It was the center of the fleet where Project Holosong began. If we can find it, Ryle understood. Maybe we can shut this down from the source. Kara asked, how do we find it? Tolan answered, by following the memories. They returned to the Revenant, the first ghost ship they found. This time, they brought a new device. A memory tap built from old Imperial tech. It could pull emotional data from walls, objects, and devices. Inside the ship, silence returned. The halls were still empty, cold, full of shadows. Ryle placed the memory tap near the sealed lab door. The machine powered on it first. Nothing. Then flashes of light, voices, screams, and images appeared on the small screen. A group of scientists shouting, a black cage breaking open, something slipping out, something shapeless, man crying, "We gave it our minds. Now it has our souls." Then coordinates, the location of ESF Solace, deep in the silent zone. A place marked in red, "Do not approach." Ryle turned to his team. "We found the beginning," Tolan added, "and maybe the way to end it." As they returned to the Vigilant, the ghost ships began to move again, faster, angrier. The memory had been disturbed, and now the past was awake. The crew of the Vigilant now had a location, the final ship of the lost Eclipse fleet, the ESF Solace. The memory tap had revealed its position, far inside a dead sector of space known as the Hollow Line. Commander Ryle stood before his team. "This is where it started," he said. "The creature, the voices, Project Holosong, everything leads to Solace." Lieutenant Tolan looked at the red coordinates glowing on the screen. "It's in a system marked off-limits by the Empire. No one's been there for over 100 years, Kara said softly. "That's because something was locked there, and we opened it." Ryle made the call. They would go to Solace. They would end it. But before they left, he had one order: seal the ghost fleet behind us. Lock their path. The door must close. Tolan activated a protocol called GraveNet, an old defensive system that created a minefield of silent sensors and energy traps. Once triggered, it would close off the area forever. "If we fail," Ryle said, "these things will never leave that zone." They reached the Hollow Line 12 hours later. Stars here were dim. Space itself felt heavier. Even the ship's engines seemed slower than they saw it. The ESF Solace, it was massive, twice the size of the Vigilant, and completely dark. It floated in the middle of a shattered moonfield. Scans showed no life, but the memory tap screamed. With noise, not sound, but raw, emotional energy. Pain, fear, regret. Tolan looked pale. It's like the ship remembers. Ryle, Kara, and a small team boarded the Solace. They moved slowly, weapons ready, helmets sealed. No talking. Inside. The ship was almost frozen in time. Walls were blackened, screens shattered, but the air felt alive. They reached the center, a deep lab chamber. There. They found it, the original containment unit, a black cylinder cracked open long ago. And beside it, the body of a man still in uniform, sitting in a chair, face frozen in horror. A name tag read, Dr. Elian Voss, lead scientist. Holosong Division. Kara moved closer and found a recorder in his hand. She activated it. The voice was faint but clear. Made it a weapon of silence. It was perfect. No need for bombs or guns. Just sound, just fear. We tested it with small animals, then prisoners, then our own minds. It grew smarter. It grew hungry. When it escaped, it didn't leave. It waited. It listened. The fleet tried to run, but it followed. We locked it in this ship. We sealed the lab. We sent the Solace to drift forever. But something went wrong. If you found this, do one thing. Close the door. Lock it again. No matter the cost. Suddenly the lights went red. A loud signal echoed through their helmets. Warning, internal breach detected. RYL turned fast. It's here. The black mist came from the walls. It grew taller, forming human shapes, twisted faces, some familiar Hensley. Juno.Vale.Kye.Kye. All the lost crew. Their voices whispered, "You can't leave. We are you now." Ryle shouted, "Fall back to the engine core." We shut it down for good. They ran through the dying ship, chased by shadows. Kara set charges near the core. Tolan uploaded a virus to corrupt the ship's memory systems. We destroy what it remembers, he said, so it can't copy us again. The Black Fog tried to stop them, using every voice it had stolen. It cried, it begged, it screamed. It used Rial's sister's voice again. You promised you'd save me. Rial closed his eyes. I'm sorry. He pressed the detonator. The charges blew. The ship cracked. The Black Fog screamed louder than before, then vanished into silence. Back on the Vigilant, Kara held Rial's arm as they flew away from the broken solace. Tolan activated GraveNet behind them. Energy mines lit up, sealing the hollow line forever. No one goes back, Tolan said. Not ever. Rial watched the stars behind them. The door is closed, he said. But for how long? Kara whispered. No one answered. Only silence remained. The Ghost Fleet was trapped. The ESF Solace had been destroyed. The GraveNet had sealed the hollow line forever. For now, the nightmare was over. Commander Rial sat in the silent war room of the Vigilant. His uniform was torn. His eyes were tired. But his mission was not finished. We killed the creature, Tolan said quietly. No, Rial replied. We closed the door. That's not the same as killing it. An hour later, a new message came from Imperial Command. It was direct and cold. Do not destroy remaining ships. Secure and transport them for study. Science Division will take over. Rial stared at the screen in disbelief. They want the Ghost Fleet, Kara said. They want to study the thing that killed dozens of our crew. Tolan slammed his hand on the table. They're making the same mistake again. Rial stood up. No. This time, we don't follow their orders. The next day, 3 Empire science ships entered the area. They sent drones toward the nearest ghost ship, ESF Revenant. The drones docked. The ships lit up, and then the screaming started. The bridge, Rial watched, as all 3 science ships went dark one by one. Their lights flickered, their engines failed. No escape pods launched. Kara's voice shook. It's not dead. Tolan's face was pale. We burned its body, but we didn't kill its memory. The ghost ships powered on again. Them inside. The scanners showed movement. Dozens of life signs. But all were copies of the same crew. Voices whispered through the communication lines. You cannot burn a shadow. Not when it lives in memory. Rial looked at his crew. If the Empire won't destroy these ships, we will, Kara said. But that's treason. It's survival, Rial said. If we let these ships reach a colony, billions will die, Tolan nodded. Then we burn the past. Now, they began the final mission. Rial, Kara, and Tolan took control of a small nuclear drone ship, the Ember. Its only job, fly into the center of the Ghost Fleet and explode inside the Ember. Rial uploaded a final message to the Empire. You made this monster. You hid the truth. And we will finish what you started, not for orders, but for humanity. Kara added the launch sequence. Tolan armed the core. Then they left the ship. The Ember flew straight into the middle of the 6 ghost ships. As it moved, the voices began again. You're a part of us. We remember you. You can't forget what you are. But Rial didn't answer. From a distance, he watched the glowing red lights of the Ember go brighter. Brighter, then boom. White flash covered the stars. The fire spread from one ghost ship to another. Metal melted. Shadows burned. The past was consumed by light. One by one, the ghost ships disappeared. No screams, just silence. Real silence. Back on the Vigilant, the crew stared at the empty space. Tolan whispered, Is it? Over, Rial closed his eyes. There's nothing left to copy. No more voices to steal. No more cages in the dark. Kara looked at him. Then we won. No, Rial said. We survived. Later, alone in his cabin, Rial sat with the old photo of his sister. He looked at it for a long time. Then, slowly, he burned it. Not out of hate, but to let go. The past was gone, and so was the monster that lived in it. 1 week had passed since. The Ghost Fleet was destroyed. The stars were quiet again. Human Empire never released the truth. They said it was just a sensor glitch. They gave no honor to the lost. No names, no records, nothing. But those who survived knew the truth, and they would never forget. Commander Rael stood in front of a small grave field on a silent moon. It was far from the Empire's core, hidden, private. Each grave had no body, just a name. Private Hensley, Sergeant Vale Engineer K. Lieutenant Juno, Dr. Elian Voss, and many more. Kara stood beside him, quiet tear running down her cheek. Tolan placed a small cum badge on the final stone. It blinked once, then powered off. Silence. RYL spoke softly. We closed the door. We burned the memory. We saved everyone else. But we'll never be the same, Kara said. Rael nodded. That thing, it fed on more than voices. It fed on pain, on love, on everything that made us human. Tolan asked, Do you think it's truly gone? Rael didn't answer. Later, that night, back aboard the Vigilant, the ship was quiet. Most of the crew had been rotated off. Only a few remained. Rael walked the dark halls alone. Everything seemed normal again. No strange signals, no whispers. But as he passed the old storage room, he heard something. Click, click, click. He stopped. No one should be inside. He opened. The door slowly darkness. He turned on his wrist light, and then he saw it. Just a recorder. An old model, covered in dust. It blinked. Then it played without anyone touching it. A voice came out. His sister's voice. Rael, are you still there? He stepped back. No, he whispered. You're gone. I let you go. You promised to protect me. He stared at the device. His heart raced. But he didn't run. He didn't speak. He slowly walked toward it and crushed it under his boot. The next day, the Vigilant left orbit. No one spoke of the recorder. No one reported the sound. They had all agreed. If you hear the echo of a ghost, you do not answer. Months passed. The story of the Ghost Fleet became a rumor among deep space crews. Some said it was a myth. Others swore they saw a shadow in the stars. One pilot said she heard her dead brother call her name through static. She shut off her radio. She survived, on Earth, inside a quiet data vault beneath Imperial Command. A file blinked open on its own. Project Holosong status. Deletita hidden folder appeared. Recovered sample. Fragment 3, A inside. A small line of text played. We remember you.